The NFL draft is just right around the corner, football fans. And on today's episode, I want to talk about the top three teams in the NFL draft and what it means for them. For the first team that's picking first, the Tennessee Titans. Is Cam Ward a lock? The Browns. Will the Browns add Sheduer Sanders to their QB room? And last team we're going to talk about on today's episode, the New York Giants. With the latest moves, are they anticipating that they won't have a shot at Sheduer Sanders? Yeah, I know we're going to talk about it all and break it down right after this.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and I'm holding it down on this episode. So if y'all tuned in with me, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Now, y'all make sure y'all stay in tune. We know that the draft is right around the corner, so myself and Steve-O, we're going to be bringing you guys some of the most important discussions and storylines and topics for the top 30 for all 32 teams that they might have to answer, or what their approach may look like for the upcoming draft. So on today's episode, we're talking about the Tennessee Titans. Is Cam Ward a lock? Let's kick it off with that. Now, the Tennessee Titans, they stand at number one in the NFL draft, and they got the number one overall pick. Cam Ward, just a day or two ago, just had his pro day, to where he had the a lot of the scouts up in there anticipating on if they'll be able to maybe trade up for him, or if the Tennessee Titans just stay put and go ahead and grab their quarterback of the future. Me personally, I think Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this draft, with Sheduer Sanders being a close number two. I don't think you can necessarily go wrong with either guy. But if you talk about the Tennessee Titans early on, right after the season, there was some speculation that the Tennessee Titans might look at a guy like Abdul Carter. And I was like, ain't no way you're going to sit there and look at an Abdul Carter when you got Cam Ward and Sheduer Sanders entering this draft, and Will Levis for the Tennessee Titans is not it. So I had to ask the question, is Cam Ward a lock to go to number one? I say, I don't know what the Tennessee Titans will do, but I would say the Tennessee Titans, if you pass on Cam Ward, you are an absolute fool. That's just how I look at it. You cannot sit there, look at Will Levis, look at the coach, Brian Callahan, and how frustrated he was from week one of the season versus the Chicago Bears, when they pretty much had the game locked up and the Bears stormed back to win that game, and how heated Brian Callahan was, the head coach over there for the Tennessee Titans. And what better way than to bring in a guy that is not only one of the better quarterbacks, well, in my opinion, the best quarterback in this draft, who is going to bring that attention, who's going to be able to go out there and openly speak his mind to galvanize guys around him on the football field, but and is also going to go out there and be a model citizen off the field. At least that's what I'm anticipating. This is a guy that has a chip on his shoulder. He's not a cocky guy. He's a confident guy, but he's not cocky. So I will say, after the pro day that Cam Ward had, after seeing all the film and going over and reviewing how his collegiate career went and how things ended during his collegiate career, you cannot absolutely pass up on a Cam Ward, knowing what you know, for the Tennessee Titans. I will say he is a lock, or he should be a lock. Now, obviously, the Titans, excuse me. Now, obviously, the Titans can go out there and try to anticipate and do something crazy, but I would think it would be utterly stupid to not take Cam Ward number one, knowing what you know and having who you have behind or under center in Will Levis. Cam Ward, for me, he's going to be able to work well with the head coach over there. I don't necessarily think he's going to make a lot of bonehead plays over there. And don't get me wrong, the Tennessee Titans could very well say, hey, we're going to trade the number 1 pick and grab some capital. Okay, cool, fine and dandy. But do you want to wait another year? Do you want to give Will Levis another year? So it's something that the Tennessee Titans are going to absolutely have to figure out for themselves, because if I was the GM, I'm taking Cam Ward number 1 overall. So we'll see. But I definitely believe that Cam Ward is a lock to go to the Tennessee Titans, plus other guys, especially those insider, those guys that's covering the NFL each and every day, just like we do here on NFL Central. But those guys are more national. You've been hearing those rumblings that they've been impressed by the things that they've seen and heard out of Cam Ward. I say this, hey, it might be crazy to say, but I think if Sheduer Sanders would have threw at the combine, I think Cam Ward would have threw at that mug too, just to show him what it is. Like, you see that competitiveness on this young man's mind to be great. And you already know that he went through his trials and tribulations to get to this point right now, and to get the recognition that, you know, that he deserved, because how well he played this past season. So I say, Tennessee Titans, you bet not screw it up. Tennessee Titans, you bet not screw it up. Go and lock in number 1 with Cam Ward. The second team that's picking in this draft that's upcoming is the Cleveland Browns. Now, we know the Cleveland Browns situation. The Cleveland Browns is a team that went all in on Deshaun Watson. And if we keeping it a buck, Deshaun Watson has been dumpster juice. You've seen a little glimpse here and there, but it's just not good enough for a guy that's making all that damn money on a fully guaranteed contract. Plus, you gave up additional capital to bring him to Cleveland. I've seen more energy come from Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco than what Deshaun Watson has given this organization. Now, obviously, they still owe him so much money. Nobody really wants to let him go inside of the front office. However, you can still light a fire under his ass, buy yourself a little bit more time, to where when you do finally cut him, you got a young guy by the name of Sheduer Sanders in the quarterback room that's going to be on a rookie contract, that's going to have a hell of a coach in Kevin Stefanski, have guys like a Ward on the defensive side, have the highest paid defensive player in Myles Garrett on the defensive side, have a decent guy in a coach that can build up a solid offensive line and will improve the offense, in my belief, and you can go out there and win some football games when it's that time to call him up. So I say, if you are the Cleveland Browns, you should absolutely add Sheduer Sanders to the quarterback room. You got Deshaun Watson, you got Kenny Pickett, and that's it. Kenny Pickett, we seen him. He was a starter in this league. He was beloved in Pittsburgh. I don't necessarily know if he's going to resurrect his career, but now ain't the time to figure out if he's going to resurrect his career. You go out there and you take a shot with a young quarterback who has shown throughout his collegiate career that he's a winner, that he can go out there and get guys to follow him, that he can answer the call. And I know it's going to be some pushback with people like, well, look at what happened in Colorado. I mean, but gang, it's Colorado. Now, if Deion and Sheduer, in my analysis, if they would have went to Colorado, let's just say 2 years sooner, and you had an opportunity to bring in more people, you might be talking about a different ending to his collegiate career. But they did what they did. They did what they did. And you still see them change the demographics around Colorado. Let's keep it a buck, and we're going to call it how we see it. Not many colored folks wanted to go to Colorado. Let's call it a B. Let's keep it real. And I never been to Colorado. I hear it's hella nice. I would love to visit. But we know that those people from other backgrounds and demographics that wanted to play with Sheduer of color came out there to play and ball out for Sheduer in prime. That's what we do know. And I'm not saying that that's going to be a big determining factor in Cleveland, but I do know if that young kid goes out and he starts balling out and makes an impression, in his first few seasons in Cleveland, it's going to be some guys taking a little bit less money to come over there and play. That's what happens when you have great quarterbacks, or at least the expectation, or there is belief that a young, good quarterback can go out there and give you a chance to win championships. Guys take a little bit less. Guys sacrifice a little bit more. Guys convince others to come ball out with them. That's what happens. So I'm saying, if you are the Cleveland Browns, I understand that Abdul Carter is being talked about to add him to the pass rush. Gang, you just repaid Myles Garrett. You don't need an Abdul Carter right now. There is still other guys on the defensive side that you can line up on the opposite of Myles Garrett that still go give you some production. Maybe not to the height of an Abdul Carter. At least that's what we are anticipating. But you can go out there and find other guys, maybe with your next pick, or maybe with that couple second rounds or the third round, that can come in there and fit the bill, because Myles Garrett is going to draw so much attention. It's going to free up if you draft the right guy. Let's just say they wait to the second round. They find who's a good second rounder. Let's just say Princely Human. I can't say his last name, but the rusher from Ole Miss. Y'all don't think that he'll be able to come in and have an impact with Myles Garrett getting so much attention? I'm just saying, go and get yourself a Sheduer Sanders. Let him learn from Kevin Stefanski. And if Deshaun Watson goes down this season, or if he stays healthy the entire season, you can wash your hands off that. Just eat one more year of the contract and move into the Sheduer Sanders era, and you will absolutely know what you have to do. Now, for the third pick, the third team that's picking in this draft, the New York Giants. With the recent moves, my question for them, and one of the narratives surrounding them moving into this draft, is why would you go sign Jameis Winston? If you've been following NFL Central, I said after the Jameis Winston signing, that allows the New York Giants to have some type of flexibility in this draft. Then they went out and got Russell Wilson and signed him to a one-year deal. Now, as of right now, combined, they're only going to be paying Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston $14 million. But as you just heard me talk about the Cleveland Browns, they got to add a quarterback to that QB room in Cleveland. So, in your honest opinion, now do those two moves make sense for the Giants to go get a Jameis Winston, to go get a Russell Wilson? So are they anticipating that they won't have a shot at Sheduer? Do they feel like it's not worth trading all this capital just to move up one spot? Especially if we don't know if they are actually going to take them. So what they did is just kind of bought themselves a plan B. We ain't talking about that other plan B. Y'all cool out. But I'm just saying, what if they just bought themselves a little bit more time to say, hey, we know we ain't going to the championship with a Russell Wilson or a Jameis Winston, but what if we give ourselves a chance to go out there and add other pieces to this team instead of spending so much draft capital moving up from 3 to 2 to snatch Sheduer? What if we can go out there and improve the O-line? Go out there and get an Abdul Carter now, because Kayvon Thibodeau is on that last year of the deal. What if we can go out there and improve our defense? What if we can go out there and improve our skills positions? So by the same time next year, when those quarterbacks come out, and we might be picking in the top 5 again, then we can select our quarterback of the future instead of placing ourselves further into a corner by trading up one spot if the Cleveland Browns was probably going to take Sheduer anyway. So we get it. We've criticized the New York Giants heavily, included myself, for some of the moves that they've made the past few years. But I think that it is a pivotal moment for this Giants franchise. And this pivotal moment You can't just give up all your future for a guy like Sheduer Sanders, at least right now. Sheduer Sanders still has his flaws. This is not the draft to where you had a Jaden Daniels, to where you had a Bo Nix, to where you had a Caleb Williams or a J.J. McCarthy. This ain't that draft class. You got two great ones, or at least two good ones, or at least one great one and a good one. And after that, it's looking bleak. It's looking bleak. So I understand it, and I'm trying to provide a different perspective for the New York Giants in this regard. We already look like crap. We're already in the NFC East as the third or fourth team. We're not going to be ahead of the Washington Commanders. We're not going to be ahead of the defending champions. They just re-upped on they guys in the Commanders, just added more pieces to that team. Why would we give up additional assets for a guy that we might not even 100% be sold on if you the New York Giants? Because what it tells me is that they not 100% sold on it, because you got absolutely pick up the phone, start calling the Cleveland Browns, and start some negotiations just to hear their tone and how things are going. So it makes sense in that regard. I'm the type of guy that say, hey, I make the call, but if you talking ridiculous just to move up one spot from 2 to 3, I don't know, especially if I'm not that sold on a quarterback. You got to pump the brakes on that. So that's just how I'm coming, and that's just how I'm feeling. But let's just say, for the sake of discussion, that the Titans take Cam Ward, the Browns take Sheduer Sanders. If I'm the New York Giants, I'm happy to take Abdul Carter, who at the start of the offseason was viewed as the best player in the draft. I'm cool with that. They pay Brian Burns. If you're the New York Giants, you pay Brian Burns. You're going to have to cough up some money for Kayvon Thibodeau. Now I got options to continue to build out the trenches for my organization. You can go with an Abdul Carter. You can go with a Mason Graham. You can go with a Will Campbell. You might not have those opportunities if you just go ahead and say, fuck it, we getting Sheduer. Now, if Sheduer falls, on the other end, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. You take the quarterback. That's just how I'm looking at it. You take the quarterback. My only point is that don't give up additional capital just to move up one spot, and that additional capital is not going to put you in playoff contention right now. And it doesn't necessarily have to be playoff contention right away. But does Sheduer Sanders come into this organization that still has so many holes to fill? Can they afford to give up that much capital? Because it's not only going to be capital for 2026. It's going to be capital in this current draft that is pretty much loaded in the trenches that quarterbacks need to succeed. Very, very interesting storylines coming for these top 3 teams. I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. Next up on the docket, me and Steve-O, we're going to be talking about the New England Patriots, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Las Vegas Raiders. And we just going to move down that draft order, talking about some of the biggest questions that each team may have, or which direction each team should go ahead of the draft. So, hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. Let us know your thoughts and everything down below. Chop it up. Let's have this conversation and keep it going, because there's so many ways that these teams can go in. It's so many ways that these teams can just better their team, or just screw up the future and push back the timeline even further down the road. But that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of NL Central. Make sure y'all catch me and Steve-O on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're going to be dropping that. If we got breaking news, we're going to pop out. If we got some more information that we got to go out there and present to y'all, we're going to do it regardless of the date. But the current schedule sits at Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So turn your notifications on, turn that bell on, and make sure y'all rock out. Let's talk some football. I appreciate y'all, man. I'm Bobby. I'm up out of here. Peace.